Hello there, this is DJ Gallup of Courageous Consciousness, and what I wanted to talk to you guys today about is the power of downstream thinking. And this is a really huge law of attraction exercise and technique that, if you ever listen to anything that Esther Hicks talks about when she's channeling Abraham, she talks a lot about how a lot of people in the world, but particularly Americans, are just really taught to buck the current and to go upstream. And the metaphor that she gives for this is like, imagine that you're getting into a rowboat, right? And you're going into a nice, big, powerful river with your rowboat. And, you get in there, and what most people do is, when they have something that they want or something they want to accomplish, they'll get into the boat and they'll go against the current, they'll go upstream, and they'll grab the oars and they will just paddle and paddle and paddle and paddle. And that is kind of what society teaches you that you have to do, right? I mean, we have all sorts of sayings about this, right? No pain, no gain, right? And we think that, in order to really get what we want, we have to just really go against the current, and we have to just go upstream, and that hard work and that determination is just going to really make everything better, and it's going to get you where you want. And what she says, of course, through Abraham, is that the river is what we want. The river will take us to exactly where we want if we just trust in it. And it's so hard for us to do that because it's so ingrained in our culture that we have to do it this other way. But there's really something to be said, and I've been learning this a lot myself recently. There's a lot to be said for just allowing your boat to go in the river and just releasing the oars. Heck, I would say even throw the oars overboard and get rid of them entirely, and just letting the current of the river take you where you want to go and just trusting it. And I'm going to give you guys some real examples of this recently in my life. In fact, I'll give you guys three separate examples of how this has been showing up in my life recently. And I think once you start noticing it, once you start noticing how it works, then you begin to trust the process a little bit more, because I think it is really hard for people who are so conditioned to go upstream to even consider turning the boat around and just going downstream. I think it's really hard. So anyway, I wanted to tell you guys three examples. So one is an example from my personal life, okay? So I as I've mentioned on this channel probably 1,000,001 times already, I am a massage therapist. That's most of what I do. And when I first became an independent massage therapist, I thought, okay, my big thing is going to be, I'm going to have to get new clients. I'm going to have to go out and I'm going to have to really, really work to get these new clients, and I'm going to have to put forth all this effort. I'm going to have to advertise all over the place and spend money and do all of these events and just go crazy. I'm just going to have to go crazy to get my name out there so that people know who I am and what I'm doing here in town. And I did that for a while. I was really advertising. I was pushing my cards on people. I was doing all the networking and everything like that. And not to say that stuff is bad to do. I mean, certainly there's nothing wrong with handing out cards, and certainly there's nothing wrong with doing some advertising and all that. But I was doing it from a real standpoint of going upstream. I was like, I need to do this. I need to push in order to succeed. And what I started realizing maybe just about a month ago, maybe 6 weeks ago, is that actually, if I just put my boat in the river and let go of the oars, and I just make my intention known, and I just see in my head what I want, then I'm going to draw it to me. So guess what? I stopped doing a lot of that stuff. Don't get me wrong, I'll still hand out cards here or there. I keep a bunch of cards in my wallet, right? And of course, yeah, I'll still throw ads up on Facebook and stuff like that here and there, sure. But at this point, I am trusting that clients are going to find me. And you know what? It's been working. It's been working like crazy. In the past few weeks, now keep in mind, I only work on maybe 7 or 8 people a week. That's all I really need to do to make the money I need to live. But people have been finding me, and I've had 4 new clients in the last week. People who found me somehow or another, whether it was through referrals or through my Facebook page or whatever. So I'll tell you, as soon as I let go of those oars, it was such a relief. I was just able to go with the flow and put a lot less effort into things, and which made me feel a lot better. But I would say the proof has been in the pudding. People have been coming to me, they've been finding me, and it's been really, really great for my business. So that was example 1. Example 2 is I was actually having a discussion about downstream thought, downstream thinking with my brother-in-law. My brother-in-law, who's my husband's youngest brother, he's up visiting Knoxville for a few days. He's currently in medical school at a prestigious university. I won't say which. But anyway, my brother-in-law is going through a bunch of problems, and I'm not going to go through every last one of them with you guys, of course, because I don't want to be too specific. But I mean, let's just say he's having some primarily family issues. And of course, he's also having some issues in school as well. And, I just could tell, just from talking to him about his troubles for, maybe the 10 or 15 minutes that we were talking about them, and he was telling me story after story about all these things that were bothering him, it became so clear to me from the get-go that he was going upstream on everything, on absolutely everything. And I could just see him in that rowboat, and he's a skinny little guy. I'm big, I have muscles. My brother-in-law, he's a skinny little thing. I can't even imagine him doing the oars for that long. But anyway, and he's been really tired, and he's been really exhausted from the whole process of going upstream. So we were out at the bar having a few beers, having a nice time, and and I just was really talking to him about this whole power of downstream thinking. And at first he was like, well, I don't know how I'm going to do it. I'm so used to thinking that I have to go upstream. And I said, well, you just drop the oars. You just drop the oars. That's all you have to do. The boat will turn around on its own if you let it. You just have to drop the oars. And he's like, well, how am I going to know when I'm going downstream? If I've never gone downstream, how am I going to know I'm going downstream? And I said, easy. You're going to feel better. You're going to feel a sense of relief. You're going to feel like some weight has been taken off your shoulders. You're not going to be so tired. These are all signs of going downstream and just trusting that the process is happening the way it should be for you. And so I think it really started getting through his head because, he's had all of this animosity toward certain members of his family. Like I said, I won't get into details, but he's had a lot of animosity toward a particular family member for some amount of time. And I could just tell how tiring it is to be feeling that anger and that resentment all the time. And so, I was even just saying to him, on this subject, I said, what's the best feeling thought you can have on this subject? Can we get you from maybe anger to something just even a little bit above anger, And he said, it's not going to be easy, but he's like, maybe I can get myself up to neutrality. Maybe I can get to a place where I'm not going to resolve everything with this family member. Maybe it's not ever going to be a perfect relationship, but maybe I can just kind of, at a baseline, just kind of understand why things are the way they are. And I said, yeah. I said, if you can get to neutrality about that subject, and it may not be easy and it may not be overnight, but if you can get to that neutrality on the subject where you're currently really angry and resentful, you are going to feel so much better. You are just going to feel so much relief. So, and like I said, I'm going to give you guys one more example here. So, being a massage therapist, I get clients, on my table, and usually I'll have clients on my table for 90 minutes or 2-hour sessions, and it's really fun. One thing I love about being a massage therapist is that people really tell you their problems. Like, people will actually open up on the massage table because they feel a real sense of trust, especially, if you're a really nice, helpful, sort of good listener like me. So anyway, I had one of my clients recently, and of course, once again, I won't use any specifics, but he's been going through a lot of changes in his life. He's had a breakup from someone he was with for a couple of decades. They're currently selling their house, which of course is a big job, and really kind of means it's like the end of the relationship. There are some sick parents that are being taken care of, and then in addition to all that, my client is hitting the bottle pretty hard, and and he was telling me all this stuff, and I mean, it just all seemed to be upstream, 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 upstream. And I just got to asking him, I'm like, why are you fighting so hard now? I think one thing that is just really useful to do if you do want to go downstream is just start putting in some thought into what you want or into how you want things to be, right? So, at first he was telling me about all these things, and they were kind of negative, 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 negative. And I said, okay. I said, well, let's just take a step back. I said, at this point, I said, with your relationship, I said, what's the best thing you can hope for right now? I said, I know you're going through this breakup. It wasn't a terrible breakup. I mean, they just kind of consciously uncoupled after a couple of decades. And I said, so what's the best thing you can hope for here? I said, are you looking to get into a new relationship? Are you just looking to, go out and hit the town and have fun? And he said, yeah. He said, that's what I want. I said, okay, well then I want you to focus on that. I want you to focus on that's what you want, is you're going to go out and have fun, and you're not looking for a relationship right now, but maybe down the line you will. Okay, cool. And I said, how about the house? I said, what would be the best feeling thing you could feel about this house sale? And he's like, I have the sort of job that I can do from anywhere. He has one of those jobs where he works remotely, he works from home. And he's like, I'd really like to be able to move around. I'd like to be able to be at the beach or, be at different places. And I said, won't selling your house be a great way of doing that? Because once you don't have this house here anymore, then you can relocate if you want to relocate. You can use some of that money. You can get, maybe a little place by the beach where you can spend some time. And he's like, yeah. So I said, great. Think about what it is you want on the housing aspect of things, right? And then kind of the biggest one to me was his drinking. He's a really great guy. I love this client, but he just was going on and on about his drinking. And so, I was just saying about that, why are you drinking so much? Is there, are you using it to cover something, and what's the best feeling thing that you can, what's the best feeling thought you can come with the drinking? And he's like, maybe I can start reducing my intake. He wasn't going to give up the alcohol, and of course. I mean, that's not something I would have expected, right? But he's like, yeah, I can start thinking about really reducing my intake. And I said, great. I said, if that's where you can get to right now, then that is a better place than where you are today. And so, when you're when you're turning that boat around, when you're getting ready to let go of the oars and you're going to, start letting your boat go downstream, it's going to turn around in the current, it's a really good thing to think about is, what do I want and how do I want my life to be? And what things do I want in my life? And once you start having those really nice, clear ideas about what it is that you want in your life, what you want to manifest in your life, then it's really not that hard to just kind of let the oars go and travel downstream. So anyway, these were a lot of examples, I'm sure, for you guys today. But I have been finding that there is such power, such intense power in just going downstream. And it just may be something you want to consider, especially if you have been trying to work upstream for something. Because let me tell you, working upstream, it's tiring. And I mean, if you want to keep doing it for the rest of your life, that's totally fine. But if you just trust in the power of the river and you just know that you're going to get there somehow, some way, and you just kind of hand it over to God or the universe and you just surrender, oftentimes you're going to get there. And it's going to be such a more fun and healthy and happy way of getting what you want and to where you want in your lives. So I hope you guys will start to go downstream. I think it's a really, really fun thing to try. So anyway, I'll leave it there. I appreciate you guys so much for watching. Of course, I love it if you subscribe to my channel, if you hit the little like button, and of course, I love comments because they tell me what I need to make for you guys, because I am here to help you guys feel better. So I hope you have a most wonderful day. Enjoy it. Namaste. I'll see you tomorrow.